Hello, welcome in. If you're here listening to this podcast, that means you're destined for something great, and we both know it to be true. So without further ado, welcome to the Dark Matter Podcast. Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. Dev here. And today, I actually wanted to talk about stepping into your future self. And I feel like, just based on all the content that I've been sharing over the last couple of weeks, really leading up to this, I think this is really where everything is coming to. It's like we've kind of talked about burnout, we've kind of talked about reflecting, we've kind of talked about achieving your goals, we've kind of talked about a lot of different things, all in line with creating that version of yourself or creating these goals to allow yourself to become that version of yourself that you wanted, right? Like that end goal. And I think when I think back to my own journey, some of you guys know some of the stories and some of the things that I went through. Really tough sometimes. There was a lot of chaos, and I think that's putting it lightly. At school there was always not so friendly conversations and uncomfortableness around that. Didn't always excel and do extremely well. I was never really a book smart kid. I was more of someone street smart. I could really understand things. I could pick things up. I can learn on the fly. But you ask me to study a textbook or do homework, and it's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to do it. That's just kind of always had been, and I feel like a lot of, up until grade 6, I feel like a lot of the teachers just passed me because they didn't want to, have to continue to work with me. And that's just kind of how it felt. That might not have been how it was, but that's surely how it felt. And a lot of the friends just come and go. Family life wasn't the greatest either. There was a lot of chaos at home. Just a lot of screaming, a lot of chaos, a lot of craziness, and so I never really had that moment of peace. But I think in doing all of this, and most people can relate to this, regardless of the type of upbringing or experiences that we had growing up, I think we all were dreamers at one point or another. And we were able to dream and visualize what would make us happy and where we would be and what we would do. And I've heard this so many times. Some people dreamt of being like police officers or firefighters or astronauts or teachers or lawyers or doctors and, or professional athletes or musicians and painters. There's just so many different things. And of course, somewhere along the way, we lose that. We lose sight of that goal. We lose sight of that dream, that vision that we had for ourselves. And whether that was life or people that didn't believe in us, or maybe we lost belief in ourselves. I think there's so many things that can go into it, but I think it's almost like, not to go back to what it was that you thought of when you were younger, but I think it's just a feeling and just remembering that there was something more. And I think in today's day and age, there's just, again, more chaos to kind of deter you from wanting to achieve big things, right? Like, there's so much chaos around the world right now. It's very easy to not want to expand or, want to stay complacent. I mean, for me right now, I'm in Northern Ontario, and, one of these pages that I follow, pretty reputable, for the local Toronto area, just mentioned the other day that, like, the mosquitoes in the Vaughan and Toronto area have now tested positive for West Nile virus, which is huge, of course. Like, it's a deadly virus that has been around for so long, and now they're testing positive for it. And I just feel like it's so timely. It's like summer is kind of in full effect. The weather has been fantastic, and now all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, here's a great reminder to stay indoors or to not go travel or to not do the things that you want to do. So I feel like, there are things, whether subliminally or, outright visibly, I think there is a lot of things that really are put into our consciousness, and I think this is what keeps us kind of on the back foot. And I think the idea with this is just remembering that we all had a version of ourselves that we wanted to be. And I think as the time went on, we also created either iterations of that, variations of that, or elevated or evolved versions of that. I think growing up, I actually wanted to be a professional soccer player. That was my big goal. I mean, every team I ever played for, I was the best. I played in the second highest tier in all of Canada until the team folded. Like there was so many things. I was accepted to play for Toronto FC Academy when they first came out. I had a full scholarship opportunity to go play in the U.S. There was just so many opportunities for me. And I think, you guys remember the story that I had said before where, it was suggested to me that it's okay to lose. And I think I lost a little bit of that competitive edge. And then there's the other piece of like, telling that to my family, like I'm going to be a professional soccer player. And for them who, couldn't really envision that, for them to say, no, that's not going to work. You need to go get a job, like have another plan. And I feel like, at the time, it makes sense logically. Like you can't go all in with something at such a young age, because what happens if it doesn't work out? And on the adverse, it's like, well, all the people that amassed success for themselves, they had that vision and they just ran for it. And there was no plan B, because that doesn't exist. It's going to happen for me. And that's the reality of the situation. And I just feel like, things could have been very different had I actually had support rather than a constant deterrence from, you can achieve that. All of this to say, over the last little while, I've just been recognizing a lot of different things have been coming up. And with just being a practitioner in subconscious rewiring, and she has a lot of certifications in this stuff, I feel like us being able to go back and forth with understanding more of my triggers and understanding more of the things that I'm seeing in my awareness that are holding me back, from evolving. I think this was something that we actually chatted about like a couple of days ago. And it's just so interesting because I don't know what it was, but I feel like sometimes when people post on socials, like I almost feel like I take it personally sometimes. I look at what they're posting, and over the last 3 years, I was building Facebook groups, and that was my business, right? Like I showed people how to build a successful online coaching business through Facebook groups. Now I'm doing it through automation, because now this is clear as day that the best thing there is for growing an online coaching business. Like you need it. It doesn't matter what stage of the game that you're at, you need automation. And so I'm all in with this. And it's just so interesting that now when people try to, there is a marketing tactic where people throw rocks at the other strategies. I feel like whenever I see, oh, you don't need automation or you don't need funnels, it's like I feel like they're, putting that on me personally. And so I was talking through it with Jess, and she had actually like asked me the right questions, which I don't know if I didn't have her to talk through it, if I would have really achieved this. And I think that the idea is, it's just the way that we shift our perspective in our favor or in the adverse that really puts the weight on the situation as a whole, and it creates the doubt, or it creates whatever kind of uncertainty and feeling that we have within it. And as we're doing this, we're also trying to create the version of ourselves, like our future self. We have these goals. When we achieve these goals, we expect to be a certain way, right? Like if you had a goal right now to make $1 million, you're not $1 million earner in your same situation. You're just not, or else you would be. And I think that is really it for us. Like we have these goals, and it's like, well, what aspects of us with our beliefs do we have to shift, right? Do we have to be aware of? And I think with talking through it, I just realized that this was something that took me back. And I'm kind of going on a bit of a journey here, but I'm going to show you why right now. The thing is, growing up, there was two things that I was completely untouchable in. And longtime listeners of the show know it's gaming and soccer. Didn't matter what you said to me, what you try to do. I was so confident in my ability in those two things that it didn't matter what you said. It literally did not matter. Didn't matter if you were insulting me. It didn't matter if you tried to injure me. Like, these things didn't matter because I was so confident in my abilities that it didn't matter what you had to say. And that never changed. It was just always so consistent. Now, as I grew with time, I recognized that as I was expanding, there were different areas of my life where it wasn't always so confident. Like, for example, when I first started doing door-to-door sales, again, I was first very anxious. I was first very nervous. I maybe didn't articulate and enunciate my words properly. There was a lot of things that I was really wrestling with. So when someone told me I wasn't good at sales, I would take it personally and I would feel it. And it was just so interesting because in two areas of my life, I'm completely untouchable, unfazed, unbothered. I literally could not at all be knocked down, my level of confidence, awareness, anything at all. But then I start something new, and of course, because of the lack of confidence, all of a sudden there is like this piece of like almost like listening and really like owning how they feel, their opinions, right? Like, oh, they're not so good at this, and it's like I now take that upon myself to believe it because I didn't have the confidence that I have with the other things. And so it was just interesting because what this whole conversation did was it reminded me that when I was peak performance, when I was the happiest version, when I was in my dream land, I knew that I couldn't be bothered by things. I knew that no matter what people were saying, whether they're taking these little shots at me, whether they're doing that publicly or like subliminally or like, these little like under the radar type shots, like we all see it. I think we all see it. I think we all experience these things on a regular enough basis, especially if you're trying to amass success. If you're trying to do anything and you're trying to break away from everything that we've ever known, you're going to have that feedback. You're going to have that kickback. You're going to have these people who would rather stay lazy, say stuff and lash out. And whether it's family or friends or anything in between, we experience this, right? And I think in experiencing it, it's just so interesting because when we shift to being unbreakable, untouchable, unbothered, unfazed, when we get to that point again with our lives, you realize that regardless of what anyone says, you're bigger than it. You are bigger than it. You are going on a different trajectory than anyone else. So why listen to what any people say? Why listen to those things? Why do we take those things on? And as we all know, like when we're working towards things, our actual biggest enemy is our own selves. And it may be just because we self-sabotage, but it also could be because we don't actually have belief in ourselves and we take other people's opinions and we just make it our own and we believe it to be true, even if it's not. And so I just find it so fascinating that, now with anyone that is working through this and anyone that can relate to seeing negativity on social media or in person and taking it upon yourself to put it on yourself to think like, yeah, that's me and own it. I think this is just a reminder to recognize the path that you're going down requires you to be unbothered. It requires you to be unfazed. The dreams and the visions and the goals that you have, you will achieve them. And you always have to keep that at the forefront of your mind. Nothing else. Nothing else that anyone says. No other shots, no other digs, nothing else. Don't allow these things to deter you from everything that you're about to create in your life. And it was just such a great, refreshing reminder after talking through it with Jess that this is how I need to be in order to create the success that I'm trying to create. And I think all of us, to some degree or another, always have to be part of this. And no matter who you are, Elon Musk, who's one of the wealthiest people in the world, he still gets flack by people that are like, low income housing and all this stuff. So it's like, it doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter how much success you equate in your life. There will always be this. And that is the game that we play. And I think it's just a good reminder that today you need to be unfazed. You need to be unbothered. When things trigger you, do not allow them to get the better of you. Be better. Rise higher. And just keep working away. And at the end of the day, remember that anyone can have a good day. Anyone could have a good week. Anyone could have a good month. Anyone could have a good quarter. But can they have a good year? Can they have a good 5 years? Could they have a good 10 years? And I think keep that at the forefront of your mind. You're not trying to do this for today. You're not trying to do this for the month. You're not trying to do this for the year. You're trying to do this so you create success in the long term, because that is what it is. It's almost like the line, right? I think it was like Alex Hormozy. He asks, if I told you that in 5 years you were going to make $1 million, but you would not get paid like it at all until the 5 years, would you do it? But you 100%, 100 million%, you're going to make $1 million in 5 years, but you're basically going to get paid nothing between now and then. Would you do it? Some people may, some people may not. And I think that's just kind of how we have to operate. And yeah, there are a lot of people doing MLM and affiliate marketing and all of this stuff. And, I'm going to show you how to quit your job in 30 days, even with no experience and all this stuff. Doesn't matter. Keep working away on what you're doing. Anyone can have a good day. Can they have a good year? Can they have a good 5 years? Can they have a good 10 years? Keep this going. Keep this in your mind. Keep this at the forefront of everything that you do, because you will create success that may change your entire generation. You are destined to do something fantastic, and the only thing in your own way is yourself. The only thing in your way is you. So don't let anything get in your way. Be empowered. Stand up tall. Be confident in what you're doing. And don't let anybody or anything take that away from you. So, generational rant, as you know, become a signature on the channel. If you enjoyed this, guys, feel free to reach out, comment down below. Really appreciate all the support. Not sure if you guys did see, but yesterday on my YouTube channel, I actually announced our brand new service. This is a completely done for you online business through our agency. So if you are an online coach, creative, you're trying to get into the space, you're an aspiring entrepreneur, connect with me. At a limited time only, we are taking in people and we're testing this thing out. So if you're interested and you really want to create something, reach out. I'm going to leave my booking links in the socials, in the show notes, all that good stuff. Appreciate you all for listening as always. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, share, subscribe to it all. You know I appreciate it. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.